So the other day at work, there were two women talking about their egg cycles in front of the apples. I have a problem with saying no. And while I don't know where exactly that stems from, I think I kind of have an idea as to why I'm this way. You see, I was raised on a very strict set of principles. I was supposed to be a yes ma'am, yes sir, and whatever else sort of polite person you're supposed to be. Granted, my dad was super strict on me, not only just because we were super religious growing up, but just because I guess that's the way that he'd been raised, so it kind of passed down to me. For example, at work, I was getting pushed around a little bit because they knew I did good work and they knew that I would stay overtime to help out. Every time I would get asked if I could stay a little bit later, I would always hesitate, and I have this habit of smiling when I'm uncomfortable, making the other person feel like, hey, she's agreeing, she's okay with this, let's do it. But that's not what I mean to do. So at work, I've just been biting my tongue, just dealing with it, just handling it, and just going along with it. All because I couldn't say no to someone. This isn't the first time that I've had issues with this. It's been all throughout my life. It's been through any situation possible. Like, I don't know, maybe it's Subway, someone's making my sandwich, but I don't want a certain item on it, but I feel bad and I think, well, do I really need it? Like, do I really need it off? Like, it's not like it costs extra money. It's just, if it's onions, maybe we'll just smell oniony for the rest of the day. So then I just kind of deal with it and I move on. And that's not how it's supposed to be. I'm so bad at taking care of myself and what I want because I'm too worried about making other people happy. Maybe it's also just because I'm just super polite. I've just been raised this way, that's another thing. But just because you've been raised a certain way doesn't mean you have to continue to grow up in that strict uniform that your parents were trying to force you into. You gotta figure out who you are, and you gotta stick to that, otherwise you'll never grow out of your shell. And that's what I'm struggling with right now. One of the days at work, I finally just lost it because I was exhausted. I hadn't been getting my breaks. I kept staying overtime, over 8 hours. And finally, I just went to a manager and I just kind of broke down and I cried. It was embarrassing. I do have a certain line that when I cross it, my tolerance for bullshit is just out the window and I kind of lose it. I lose it in a sense that I either get really upset and I cry, or I get really upset and depending on the situation, I can get into an argument and make the other person cry. But it's not like I want those to be my only two options. I don't want to have to hit that point. And what makes me sad is at that point, like my tolerance for bullshit is actually pretty high. Now, I realize that's a problem. I realize that I need to start lowering that. I need to start taking care of myself, but it's very difficult for me to when all my life I've been saying, yes sir, please, and thank you, that sort of thing. It's very difficult to break out of the shell even after a couple of years of realizing that this is who you are. Figuring out who you are and coming to accept yourself and being more confident, that takes a lot of time. I'm only 23. Like 23 years of this, that's not enough time. First of all, I spent a good 18, 20 of those getting to know myself. The last 3 years, I've been working so hard on becoming more confident and I've become more courageous. It's awesome. I can see the difference between the really shy person I was before and me now. But I still have a lot of work to do. I still have a lot of self-acceptance. I still have a lot of self-acceptance I need to work on. But that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen after a certain It doesn't happen after a shitty situation. You can't change just like that because that's really hard. If you try to change yourself overnight, you'll be the unhappiest person ever. This week I've been a little bit better about saying no. I've also been able to snag a manager and let him know that I can't stay overtime, that I won't, that I've been trying to say no, but that I'm really bad against, authoritative figures. And he understood. And now he has my back, and now that makes me more confident in saying no. And sometimes it's that kind of support that you really need. Start making small changes. I'm definitely trying. I'm trying to understand what makes me so afraid. Figuring that out is getting to the core of why I'm so insecure when it comes to just saying no and making sure that I come first. Because you should always come first for yourself. I mean, aside from family and stuff, but you know what I mean. Your happiness, it's pretty important because that's how you carry on for the rest of your life. That also carries on to interactions with other people. You need to remember that you are important too. That does not ever change. Even if you think you did a shitty job of being a good person in A, even if you think that you've messed up horribly, you are still important. Do not forget that, because that is key in overcoming a lot of things. And I have a habit of forgetting that a lot, and I push myself too far, and then I get to that point and I feel like giving up, and I feel like exploding. And I don't want to feel like that anymore. You are important. Take care of yourself first, and everything else will take care of itself. I'm really bad at ending things, but thank you so much for listening. I guess that was diary report number 1. Say no more often. Feels good. Don't be everyone's yes man. Be a yourself man, woman. I'm gonna go.